Pretty steady speed. But like I'm just saying, oh yeah, but like yeah, because you want to do like and then typically by the time they're speaking, there's music. There's no smooth.
No worries. Oh, you're good.
Good morning, everyone. Please make sure you find your seats. We will begin the meeting shortly. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our last Senate meeting of the semester. I call this meeting to order at 9:05 a.m. We'll go on to the land acknowledgement now. Associated Students recognizes and acknowledges the first people of this ancestral and unceded territory for Tataviam Band of Mission Indians that is now occupied by our campus of California State University, Northridge. Honors their elders, past and present, and the descendants who are citizens of the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. Associated Students recognizes that the tribe is still here, and we are committed to lifting up their stories, culture, and community. We'll now go into roll call by our Attorney General.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon,
Here.
Senator Abrams,
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez,
Here.
Senator Atias,
Here.
Senator Basilio,
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa,
Here.
Senator Contreras, Senator Cunanan,
Here.
Senator Dominguez,
Here.
Senator Garcia,
Here.
Senator Gavino,
Here.
Senator Kachidia, Senator Kodka,
Here.
Senator Mane, Senator Quiroga,
Here.
Senator Ramirez,
Here.
Senator Umana,
Here. Here.
Senator Vicente.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. We'll now go into the approval of the agenda for December 8, 2025. Is there a motion? Senator Umana?
I move to approve the agenda for December 8th, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Arias Gomez. Is there any discussion on the approval of the agenda? Seeing and hearing none, if you're in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand. Thank you. The approval of the agenda has been passed. Let's go now into the approval of the minutes for December 1st, 2025. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Dominguez?
I move to approve the minutes for December 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Basilio. Is there any discussion on the approval of the minutes? Seeing, hearing none, let's go into voting. If you're in favor of approving the minutes for December 1st, 2025, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? All right, let's go into, we'll vote again. If you're in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. The approval of the minutes have been passed unanimously. We'll skip over special presentation and now we'll go into open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associated Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes. Good morning, James.
Good morning. Hey, I hear that. Good morning, everybody. My name is James Forrester. I serve as the AS Programs Manager to just give you an update on some of our programs that are going on. We are all done with formal programming as of this week, so we're super excited to be taking a little bit of a break with that. But I do want to come up and just make a note that the AS Winter Holiday Party is this upcoming Wednesday from 12 to 2-ish up in the USU Thousand Oaks room. So hope to see you all there for that. We're going to have some games, photo booth, food, and some other prizes as well too. So if you're interested in participating in the ugly sweater competition, make sure you wear an ugly sweater for that. Even though it's going to be 83 degrees. Who doesn't love wearing an ugly sweater when it's super hot outside? And then the other final thing I just wanted to make a quick note about today, you all will be voting on the reboot camp budget. So I just want to say thank you all so much for taking time to look at that. And if any of you have any questions about that kind of stuff in the future, definitely just let me know. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, James.
Hi, everybody. Just wanted to talk to you about two things really quick. My name's Daniel. I'm the marketing manager for Associated Students, just in case you didn't know who I was. The first thing when it comes to marketing, if you have any ideas for events or anything that you want to do for the spring semester, go ahead and submit those requests as soon as you can, just so we can try to get started on them during the winter break if possible, or at least start in the beginning of the early of the spring semester. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the Matitude Tuesday request item that's in the for budget in the agenda today. It was something that we started back in 2009 with partnership with the CSUN president. And then in 2016 is when it became a resolution here in Senate. But it's just something that we want to do to show off CSUN pride. So the request entails ordering shirts that says on Tuesdays we wear red for Matador Tuesday or Matitude Tuesday. So we can hand those out to students, plus with some other giveaways of sorts that we can use to help promote wearing red on Tuesdays. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that before you guys discuss it later in the agenda. So thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Jimenez Salgado, representing CSUN Athletics today. So just want to give you a quick sports update on how our basketball teams performed this week. So starting off with our men's basketball team, they had a home win against Cal State Bakersfield this past Thursday. Larry Hughes Jr. scored a career best 27 points, and it was a good win overall just to have and starting off our conference play. And then on Saturday, they traveled to UC Irvine. And for those that don't know, UC Irvine usually always finishes #1 in our conference. They're usually the best basketball team in the Big West. And this past season, they're selected in the preseason poll to finish #1. And we traveled away to their team. We're missing our #1 rebounder as well. And we led for most of the night. Unfortunately, we just came up a little short, but that's a good sign of what's to come later. And hopefully we can win against UC Irvine when they play against us at home. And then their next home game is going to be against Fresno State this Wednesday. So if any of you are available, I would love to see you all there and support and have your friends there as well. The game's at 7 p.m. on Wednesday night against Fresno State. And then moving along to our women's basketball team, they also had a strong win when they traveled to Cal State Bakersfield. They won on a game-winning layup with few seconds left to go and won by 2 by a game-winning layup by Saraya White. So that was good to see for them as well too. So they also started 1-0 in Big West play, and then they also played UC Irvine here at home this past Saturday. Unfortunately, they couldn't get their offensive rhythm. They started off strong, but just couldn't finish out the game. And then their next home game is also going to be on this Saturday as they play San Jose State. So if any of you are available, their game's at 2 p.m. So we'd love to see your support there too, if on Wednesday or Saturday. Any questions for me? Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good Monday morning. Thank you for a second go around. Is it okay if I put these so they can be passed down? You should have also, my name is Ryan Mason. I'm the senior coordinator for the Black House. As you know, on your docket today, you had tabled a topic from last week, which specifically relates to the African Black Coalition Conference. After last meeting, I heard several conversations about just needing a little bit more clarification and detail. You should have received this via email, but I did print them out just in case for today's meeting. So I just want to highlight, I didn't know what exactly to say today, but I think I was reminded last week, and one of your senators were able to see an experience that happened in the Black House last week where a student really wanted to exercise their voice, but then had challenges doing so. They were met with a lot of contention, and it kind of went back and forth. And then I came in and we were able to explain, like, we want to have these different perspectives. But to not get into the details, but to explain what I got from that was this idea that leadership provides us with a voice, but that training that comes with those leadership experiences provide us with the with abilities to have thoughtful engagement. As an alumni, I remember experiences where I was able to come here and request funds and have discussion. I remember a lot of those experiences, and that's what this conference serves for a lot of our students, because our students were just not seeing them in this space, unfortunately, to be able to exercise that. So just drawing your attention to a couple of things. On the second page, at that bottom line, it's bolded. I just wanted to highlight that the conference does have a registration fee in which students pay across the CSU, UC, and all of the participants. They pay a $75 fee. That fee is collected by the African Black Coalition Conference team. And then once that fee is, we've agreed that fee will actually go directly back into the conference. So if you go to the last page of this document, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump around. I'm sorry, it's not the last page. Let's see, it's a document that says anticipated contributions. You'll see the breakdown of how that allocation goes back into the conference. So the African Black Coalition team is the largest contributor to the conference. Also, you see all the other anticipated allotments. You'll also just draw your attention to the figure requested is different. I did hear a lot of concerns, and we did take that into consideration. So we tried to reduce, and if you go back one more page, you'll see a more itemized budget request, a budget breakdown. All right. So this was submitted originally to the Finance Committee, but like I said, we did hear a lot of your feedback, and we wanted to try to the best of our ability to accommodate that. So I've highlighted the different areas in which AS would be contributing and or potentially contributing rather. And then I also provided a breakdown of the food locations also on that next page as well. I've also provided the keynote speakers and just a little bit more of an overview on the second page. It might be the third page actually, but it's a write-up of the Black House, the ABC and Black Student Unions contributions to and how they're engaged, how all of these entities are engaging in the conference setup. So, I just want to thank you again for taking the time and having discourse behind the scenes and in all the spaces that you could to be able to see if this is something. I do recognize that this is something that could be shut down immediately. And the tabling provided opportunity for us to do better, for me to do better. And thank you again.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for open forum? All right, seeing none, let's continue to our Senate meeting agenda. Going now into reports, beginning with our president report. President Sarabia has decided to take some time out of the office and will be coming back on January 12th. For urgent matters related to her, I recommend reaching out to Denise and me. Cabinet members will be communicating with Chief of Staff Boberg, and senators shall continue communicating with me. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation during this period. I'll have Chief of Staff Boberg read a message in President Sarabia's behalf.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and your finals are going great. I apologize for my absence. I must take time away due to medical reasons. If any of you need me for an urgent reason, please let our executive assistant or chief of staff know. In regards to the discussion regarding the provost resolution, please don't be afraid to bring those points up to me, as I will be relaying all comments to the faculty senate. That's all.
Thank you. Is there any question on the president's report? Okay. Seeing none, let's go into my report. Good morning, everyone. I can't believe this is our last Senate meeting of the fall semester. It has been such a fruitful time, and I am proud of observing your growth and development as student leaders. I would like to take a moment to express our support for President Sarabia as she takes some time away. I'm wishing her rest and renewal. In the meantime, please know that I'm here for all of AS if there's anything I can help with or any way I can support you. I am fully available. Don't hesitate to reach out. As of this week, I conducted the last Mental Health Monday of the fall semester on Monday, December 1st. So thanks to all the leaders who attended the event. I am really happy with the student turnout and response as well as attendance. Thank you to Chief of Staff Borberg for helping me throughout the day. I completed my report as the AS liaison to the USU BOD for the December 1st meeting, and shout out to Attorney General Maheshwari for reading the report on my behalf. I began the one-on-ones with senators, so this week there's no need to conduct your office hours. However, you are only required to complete your one-on-one with me. So make sure you go into your email, check for the calendar invitation, and you confirm with me that you're able to attend it. I finalized one-on-one with the cabinet members that I help oversee. So within these meetings, Chief of Staff Borberg and I started planning for the welcome weeks of the spring semester, and we will be keeping up that communication with you as we are getting close to the semester. Similarly to this semester, the first 2 weeks of the semester, senators shall sign up to 4 office hours to engage in welcome week programming. I finalized programming and organization of the Senate with Attorney General, where we brainstormed on some ideas for next semester. Executive Assistant Miranda will be helping me with data analyses for Senate events. President Sarabia and I met with Zaina Otaki Ramirez, the Assistant Dean of Students and Director of Student Conduct and Ethical Development, where we discussed current administrative process for students' conduct. And we also advocating for increasing the awareness of resources to students that have problems with classroom settings in regards to AI usage. We had a check-in with the Executive Director, Alan. I had a flag protocols update meeting. So we're discussing right now the information that we have, the protocols that exist, and then the goals and the recommendation that we'll be presenting to President Beck. We'll be drafting the report on our suggestions for the new CSUN FRAG protocol, including standardizing the information within the notification settings and keeping the website messaging. I attended and connected with students during the elections information sessions, so shout out to Chair of Elections Torres and her committee for the effort put into the event. I met with Tony Arias from DPS to discuss a community dialogue event to be hosted in the spring semester. We're aiming to create a safe, inclusive, and structured space where students can engage in open dialogue with the CSUN Department of Police Services. I recorded the last episode to the More You Know series. I also attended the initial charge meeting for the Dean of the College of Science and Math. I attended some interviews for Senate seats, and I gave my report during cabinet meeting. I also attended Finals Are a Drag, so shout out to productions teams for the programming of that. Some reminders of this week is Council of Chairs is today from 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. Attendance for chairs is required as we will be voting on the approval of the AS biography questions. As we wrap up the semester, please remember to take care of your mental health while we are pushing through finals exams. Once again, I appreciate your commitment to Associated students and your constituents. Have a great break, and I am looking forward to our work next semester. Thank you. Are there any questions on my report? Seeing none, let's go into our Chief of Staff, Bo Burke's report.
Bear with me, guys. My throat's a little scratchy, but I'll get right into this. So this week I had my one-on-one with the vice president, as he mentioned, where it was just an end of semester check-in, and then we also went over some of our plans for Welcome Week, which will be coming up. I also had a one-on-one with the president where we finalized planning for the end of the semester and just the start of next semester. And then I also had one-on-ones with each of my cabinet members where I went over their code in detail as usual, and then just discussed what winter break is going to look like and the start of next semester. I also attended the final committee meetings of University Affairs and External Affairs, and I'm really excited to see what starts happening next semester. I also attended one of the 2 elections information sessions where our chair of elections did a wonderful job presenting. And I think a lot of you guys were there, at least some of you. And then I also assisted with the vice president's final Mental Health Monday, which was wonderful to connect with students. And I pretty much finalized the cabinet event, which will be ideally on Monday and Tuesday, the 15th and the 16th from 12 to 2. If I'm going to be sending out a Google spreadsheet for that, and if any of you guys want a table at that, you are welcome as a senator. So please reach out to me if you're interested. And then I also led the final cabinet meeting of the semester where we discussed winter break with all the cabinet members and then just the start of next semester. I'm planning a cabinet calendar which will have all the events which I'm planning to share with Senate at the start of next semester. And yeah, and then I also and then I also attended Finals Art Drag, which was really fun. And then I'll go into the Chair of Elections report. So this week she prepped for her fall event, which was the 2 info sessions that I mentioned. She also kept got several updates on her merchandise, and has been getting a couple of her company contracts, which she's been sending to Denise and James. She also refollowed up with Ron for Canvas and just in regards to adding the ballot information up there. And then reached out to marketing to update the elections website. And then for next week, she's hoping to get some answers from Ron and meet with marketing to discuss the spring. And then hopefully get the rest of those contracts so she can send them to Denise and James. And then onto our Chair of Outreach and Recruitment. This week, she went over the list of applicants who still need to be interviewed and set up winter interviews for cabinet members. Along with this, she also conducted 6 interviews for various committee positions as well as a few Senate positions. She sent out 3 offer letters and several rejections, and also hosted her second committee meeting, which they're really excited to. They're going to be at the tabling event for cabinet. And then she also attended Lobby Corps and the cabinet meeting this week. And then for next week, she's going to hold her committee meeting, which they're planning to create some of the goodie bags that we're going to be handing out at the cabinet event, and then conduct the rest of her interviews for the remaining senators, and then finish sending out position approvals and then reminders for those interviews that are coming in winter break. And then on to our Chair of DEI. All right. So she continued to follow up with student clubs and cultural organizations to strengthen partnerships and further updates on their needs, upcoming events, and opportunities for collaboration. She met with the Entrepreneurship Club, and is in the process of collaborating with the Student Business Day Showcase. She checked in with the marketing team regarding pending promotional materials and ensured that requests for the DEI committee and affiliated programs remain on track. And then for the Cultural Unity Showcase, She began organizing event logistics by creating an Excel tracking sheet and should be finalizing some of the decorations and ideas in that regard. She also followed up with EOP to continue discussions about the supporting first generation initiatives and potential co-sponsorship programs for the upcoming semester. She also discussed tabling events that they're planning to do for her committee at the start of the spring semester in the first 2 weeks of January. And then for Matador Conversations, she started preparing for the next Matador Conversations, which will be with Dress, by identifying January dates and outlining preliminary goals for the session. The preliminary date is January 22nd from 11:30 p.m. to 1:30. And she's now starting to plan the rest of the year of Matador Conversations. And then she was appointed to the Advisory Committee on Non-Discrimination and Campus Culture. The first meeting is scheduled for 3 to 4:30 p.m. on December 11th. And then she has her introductory meeting with the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Police Services. And that'll be Monday, December 15th at 9:30 a.m. And then she also scheduled her DEI committee meetings, which is starting in the spring, which will be Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. And then she's working with the Chair of Outreach and Recruitment for new interviews for the DEI committee. And then still needs to meet with Natalie to discuss cultural welcomes for spring. And then that's it. And then I'll move on to our Chair of Legislative Affairs. So this final week was light. He attended External Affairs for the last time and the Public Policy Day Committee meeting to discuss policy for the upcoming year. He also held his lobby corps meeting and talked about chess and some of the next semester plans for the governor's race. And then for next week, he'll have his final lobby corps meeting this Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m., where they'll be discussing plans for the upcoming governor's race. And on Friday, there's an emergency CSSA meeting to elect a new vice president of legislative affairs. And he suggests that all of us attend if you're able. And then you can either reach out to the vice president, the president, or himself for the Zoom link if you'd like to attend that. And then that's all for my report.
Thank you, Chief of Staff Vogberg. Are there any questions on his report? Seeing none, let's go now into the Chair of Finance, Tourette's report.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well, and I hope you guys are not stressing as much because I know finals is just around the corner. So yes, let's get started on the balance account total, the balance account for supplemental totals. Our STAR request is at $179,298. Unassigned contingency is $564,060. Philanthropy fund is $4,250. Clubs and orgs travel is $18,225. Some work I did over the week, I've continued to review and process funding requests. I held the last finance committee meeting where we approved 2 supplemental requests, which are presented to you in the agenda. I attended the last internals meeting as well as the last cabinet meeting for the semester. The Assistant Chair of Finance, Gali, and I held the last Finance 101 makeup session last week. I had my one-on-one with the Chief of Staff where we talked about the annual budget and just to make sure I remain on track. And I also wanted to bring up some clarification on the request for the CSUN American Marketing Association. It was brought up, it was approved, I believe, 2 weeks ago, but it was brought up again because I made a mistake. I just wanted to clarify that the total is the correct amount that the Finance Committee recommended. However, the breakdown is a little off. In the previous breakdown, I stated that Finance Committee approved the Marketing Week, which is an event, for $470 when the Finance Committee recommended $400. And then I also inputted $400 for physical marketing, where the Finance Committee did not approve that. We actually removed it because in the previous request for all the events, it already requested physical marketing, and due to VPN, there's only a limited amount that we can allocate them for that. So there's just a clarification, and those are just the 2 points where I mistakenly added to the agenda. Now moving back to my report, the Finance Committee. So we already had the last Finance Committee last Monday. However, the Finance Committee and I will be hosting a mock deliberation meeting to prep for the annual budget. As you know, it's just around the corner. And after speaking with the Chief of Staff, he gave me the idea to hold one-on-ones with the Finance Committee just to make sure that they're doing well and are on top of their work for the annual budget. As for upcoming events, the annual budget is still open and will close next Tuesday on December 16th at 11:59 p.m. So make sure to put those in. And I will also be attending the CFAC meeting this Friday. Now moving over to the Assistant Chair of Finance's report. Good morning, everyone. This past Monday, we held our last Finance Committee meeting of the semester, and it went very well. I appreciate everyone who attended and contributed throughout the semester. On Wednesday and Friday, I presented a few of the remaining Finance 101 makeup sessions for clubs and organizations that had not yet completed the requirement. We wrapped up the last University Affairs Committee meeting on Thursday as well. Thank you to our chair and committee members for their continued contributions and dedication to the semester. Wishing everyone the best of luck on finals. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair of Finance, Tere, and also shout out to our Assistant Chair of Finance, Guna, and also your whole team of the Finance Committee for sure. Let's go now into the report for our Attorney General.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well, and good luck on finals. This semester went by incredibly fast, and I want to acknowledge the work each of you guys put in this semester. When I was in committee meetings, it was clear that you guys all worked well together, and that clearly deserves recognition. This past week, I attended the USU Board of Directors meeting on behalf of Vice President Emiliano Aragon. I caught the end of Mental Health Mondays and wrapped up the final committee meetings of the term. I sat in 3 interviews for open Senate positions, and there's more on the way. I attended cabinet, and I also had my weekly one-on-one with the vice president. We discussed goals and expectations heading into next semester, and I want to take a moment to be clear moving forward. Next semester, we are going to be raising the standard. Now that I have a full semester ahead, I'm going to make sure every senator completes their events, personal projects, and committee responsibilities. We will be implementing stronger accountability measures such as focus groups, a system to efficiently clock in, clock out, just to make sure you guys are all doing your office hours, committee responsibilities, events, and, truly being a professional. I know school gets overwhelming, but you are all adults. I mean, it's real school. You guys are here for school. But part of leadership is about managing commitments. When you take on an event or a task, it's your responsibility to follow through. And I will be holding every single one of you guys accountable for your work. It's a fresh semester, a clean slate, so I'm really excited for spring semester. And I finally just want to say thank you for all of you guys supporting me this semester and helping me find my footing. I appreciate all the collaboration that we've done this semester, and I'm very excited to head into spring with clear expectations and a stronger follow through. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General Maheshwari. Let's now go into the standing committee reports, beginning with our external affairs report by Chair Gavino.
Good morning, everyone. I will save most of my comments for the discussion on the end of semester report later, but I just want to congratulate the committee for all the work they've done this semester. You guys have done a great job with all the work we've had. This is the most referrals I've ever had in my committee, and I've chaired 3 times. So great job. Shout out to all my committee members. Shout out to Vice Chair Garcia for semester coming in, doing a great job, filling in for me in the couple of times that I wasn't there as well. But we will also see a couple motions out of committee in the special meeting agenda, but I'll save my discussion for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Gavino, and once again, shout out to External Affairs. Now let's go into the Internal Affairs report with Chair Basilio.
Good morning. Same thing. I'll save most of my discussion points for our end of semester report. We do have some motions out of committee right now, though, and in the special agenda. So I always forget how this goes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on her report? Okay, seeing none, we have two motion out of the committee. There's no need to make any motions. We'll just go directly into the discussion. So let's begin with our first motion out of committee to approve the recommendation on 2025-26-007 increase in senator stipends. So now we are in discussion. Senator Basilio?
Okay, so for this one, the entire committee did very well on their like 3 to 4 CSUs that they were assigned and had meetings with each of those executive directors and or leadership managers, whatever the equivalent was. That list of contacts was given to us by our advisor, Denise Ibarra, yay. And again, meetings were held. We have an entire spreadsheet that's also on our end of semester report in case you want to look at it. But after like 2 meetings and discussions, we decided as a committee to advocate for a separate stipend and or just parking pass or transportation pass in general, because that alleviates one financial burden for a lot of our senators here. So that will be done by me and our advisor, Denise Ibarra. I'll work on a finance committee proposal with her over the winter, and hopefully we'll hear back from that in spring. But that is all this recommendation is, to approve me and Denise working on that finance recommendation.
Any other comments, questions? Senator Gavino?
Did your committee get numbers on those like allocations to the different CSUs, and where does CSUN rank among those in terms of the stipend?
We didn't rank them honestly, because at the end, again, like I said, we were going to start focusing in on what we were going to advocate for. However, we're probably top 10, probably. But again, the spreadsheet's up just in case you want to look at it.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa?
Just an additional comment for that. When we were reviewing stipends and compensation for any position is relative to the size of the college itself. Of course, as many are aware, CSU Maritime had closed last year. CSU Stanislaus was extremely close to closing as well. So this is also a factor that we have to account for when considering the benefits.
Thank you. Any other question, comment? Seeing none, let's go into voting. If you are in favor of approving the recommendation on 2025-26-007 increase in senator stipends, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Abstains? Thank you. Motion passes. Let's go now into the second motion out of committee to approve the recommendation on 2025-26-003 AS committee promotion. So we're now in discussion. Senator Basilio.
Unfortunately, Senator Contreras is not here because this was more of her like project throughout the semester. But essentially, instead of codifying in each executive committee that you need to promote like whatever events you're having every month or something, Senator Contreras will work with our marketing department, our advisor Denise Ibarra, and also our chair of outreach and recruitment to manage an AS newsletter, which I'm sure most of you have gotten some emails regarding that, so that you can also add your events. In the recommendation, that's pretty much what it lays out, and also as if you're interested in helping Senator Contreras along with that process, to reach out to her. At the end, it also says that if that newsletter works, they'll move on with that instead of just codifying that. Oh no, sorry. they'll move on with that, and then they'll put the newsletter responsibility onto the Chair of Outreach and Recruitment code at the end of the spring semester. So that is all that this recommendation is, to use the trial run for the newsletter and see how that goes.
Thank you. Any other discussion points? All right, seeing none, let's go into a vote. If you are in favor of approving the recommendation on 2025-26003 AS Committee Promotion, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Let's now go into our University Affairs report by Chair Umana.
Good morning, everyone. So University Affairs Committee had our last meeting last week. I just want to give a shout out to all my committee members, my ex officio members. Thank you guys for all your hard work. Like Chair Gavino and Chair Basilio said, I'll save most of my comments for my end of the year report. Yeah, so all I wanted to say is that all referrals were tabled for now, but any unresolved referral will make a return in spring 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, and shout out also to our University Affairs Committee. We'll skip over our Executive Director's report and we'll go into our University Advisors report. Aja Butler.
Good morning. We finished our last workshop for our leadership series, which was also makeup for the leadership conference. And then we did a collaborative post with the University Counseling Center because we know this time can be very stressful for people for a variety of reasons. So the post focused on stress and grief and just encourages students to go to the University Counseling Services if they need support. Thank you.
Thank you, Aja. Are there any questions on our University Advisors report? Okay, seeing none. I would like to mention that for our Executive Director, Alan, Vicky is currently at the NASPA conference until the morning of December 10. So during this time, if you wanted to reach out an administrative, that will be Tim, and he will be back tomorrow. We'll skip over our faculty advisors report and let's go into unfinished business. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Umana?
I move to allocate $48,177 from unassigned contingency to the CSUN Black House and Black Student Union, BSU, for the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Dominguez. Let's go into discussion. So, Madeline, if you could please pull down the breakdown so that in the audience they can see what we're looking for, which is the document that we were just given right now during open forum. So we have a new breakdown in terms of the amount of money and also the total. So now the total goes to $33,024. And now the breakdown looks like $7,324 for facilities, then $15,000 for food, $8,200 for keynote and performers, and then $2,500 for workshops. Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Yeah, so really quickly, just looking at the schedule two, I wanted to provide, I don't know why it's assigned to echo. I wanted to provide a little bit of clarity that this finance request, supplemental request, is not from the Black Student Union itself. It is solely from the Black House. Just to provide a little bit of clarity on that end. So this is the Identity Center itself requesting funding. In regard to that though, so the breakdown we have, obviously this is a very neat breakdown, very helpful breakdown of ideas of where the funding would go. These categories, or at least some expenses, seem to be overlapping, so I feel that adjustments may be possible in certain areas, such as, well, I'll leave that off for a later comment, but I do want to provide that bit of clarity, and specifically because the line item says Black House and Black Student Union, it is only the Black House that submitted this request.
All right, thank you. So we can discuss on what amendments we want to make to the breakdown, and then once we have those set in stone, we will make sure to also amend the main motion to not include the BSU. Senator Basilia?
Yes, thank you for bringing up amendments that probably do need to be made, Senator Cabrera Figueroa. For example, the keynote and performers, there's 2 speakers listed, and obviously we have limits on how much we can provide for speakers, so we need to know how much the performances are in a full breakdown and hospitality is in a full breakdown. As of right now, the limit for speakers are 400 each. So for speakers, it would only be 800. And that, again, needs to be separated from performances and hospitality.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments? Further comments? Okay, so I did double checked with, no, you can go ahead and then I'll go. Senator Gabino?
Yeah, if we were to amend this or to reflect it that it would only be the Identity Center, the CSUN Black House, and not the BSU, then VPN rules wouldn't directly apply. Am I correct on that notion?
Could I yield the floor to Denise for clarification?
So your question was whether VPN rules would apply to a single organization?
To an identity-based research, like a university resource center as opposed to a registered student organization.
Gotcha. So my understanding of the Code on Finance, and our controller is not here to clarify this, but we don't directly fund departments. So I think the question would be whether it is tied to a department. But unfortunately, I don't have that information for you. I think VPN rules still apply regardless.
Senator Basilia?
Okay, it's just, it would be kind of hard to even, I think, cross them or strike them through from the request because they're also in the programming. So it's kind of like, are we gonna force them to not advertise themselves during the programming? Because they're a big part of the conference, which is good. It's just, if we strike them through from the request, then do they have to remove themselves from everything that they're listed in? That's a question. That's a question.
Can you repeat it? I just didn't understand, sorry.
So if this is no longer the Black Student Union also seeking the request, then do they have to remove themselves from the programming? Because they're listed all over. And again, like I said, that I think that's important. It's just, if we remove them from the initial supplementing funding request that's on our agenda, does that affect anything? That's my question.
I think the motion that we're thinking is basically just giving or allocating the money to the conference rather than, you know what I mean? So I don't think it would affect in that sense. Senator Cabrera Figueroa?
Yeah, to provide a little bit more clarity. So if we were to fund specifically just the Black House, this would not limit the Black Student Union at any point from engaging, participating, or coordinating with the Black House in the production of this event. This just means that the Black Student Union cannot list themselves as the sole sponsor of the event or as a sponsor without stating that the Black House is the funding sponsor. As far as I'm understanding, the Black Student Union is coordinating and developing all the workshops themselves. So they will still be fully in charge of that. However, the Black House would be in charge of the funding allocated to them for the conference.
Okay, thank you. Something that I want to bring now into discussion is the amount that we're allocating. I do have a recommended breakdown that aligns with what we have by also a clarification point. The Black House is its own entity within Student Affairs. if that was the question. But yeah, so I don't know if we want to now that we are a little bit more confident on like what to change from the main motion to now go into the breakdown. Senator Cabrera.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just want to really quick point to the Code on Finance, which it says that campus entities as well as registered student organizations can request funding. This is why the Black House is requesting funding. Under viewpoint neutral process, it says at times student organizations may seek funding. However, in the entirety of the paragraph explaining viewpoint neutral process, it does not stipulate anything other than student organizations. This means that the Black House itself does not directly fall under viewpoint neutrality process. I just want to clear that up, at least in my interpretation of this, unless anyone feels otherwise. I just wanted to make that apparent right off the bat as to where my numbers are going to be coming from. So based off the breakdown we're given, I have heard several concerns regarding the food allotment. I am recommending, I am recommending a total of 31,324 allocated, with $17,324 given to facilities, $3,000 given to food, and $11,000 given to workshops. We can, yes. I will hold there. Yes.
My only question is, how did you came up with that quantity for the workshops?
Yeah, it's the combination of the merchandise and workshop.
Senator Gabino.
Yeah, it's a combination of the conference merchandise, which could be, kind of allocated in the workshops. Maybe it needs to be split up even more, but it would be a combination of the workshop budget plus the material budget plus the conference parts of the conference merchandise budget, but it would be stipulated differently. For example, the Code on Finance, dictates workshop supplies is different from, workshop speakers and so on and so forth. And we can look into doing more of that, but.
Okay. So I agree facilities could be like an easy one to just change that breakdown. Food, I remember from last semester, we had a one-day event that we capped it at $3,000 for that food. So I think that could also be feasible. Then in terms of just the keynote performers or workshops, something that I was like my breakdown from here was if our Code of Finance, or if we wanted to follow our Code of Finance, that's $400 per speaker. And then if we maxed it out to 4 speakers, we can give $1,600 for the total of keynote performers. Then for workshops, as Isaac mentioned, in terms of there are going to be 18 workshops. So it's $150 per speaker. So if we multiply 150 per for the 18 workshops, we'll get to 1,700. And then in terms of the workshop materials and supplies, that is 500, which could be times 3, the max, once again, per the Code of Finance, going through 1,500, which that would bring it up to, let's say, can you remind me how much for facilities?
Yes, 17,324.
Okay, so 26,124. And then can we look into the supplies or like anything related to shirts, pants, and notebooks that way maybe we can allocate money for over there? Yeah, Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Yes, so I apologize. The 11,000 is coming from merchandise as well. So it would be 200 for merchandise, and then the remainder is the combination of keynote performers and workshops. I just wanted to reiterate again that even if we were to not follow the $400 limit, that would still be following the Code of Finance because that is part of the viewpoint neutrality process clause, which is not fully applicable in this case.
Senator Dominguez?
Could Senator Figueroa repeat his numbers again? He spoke a bit too fast last time.
Of course, I apologize. So it would be 17,324 for facilities, a total of 3,000 for food, and then I will break it down so it's not the total 11,000. 200 for conference merchandise, 8,200 for keynote performances and hospitality, and then the 2,500 as written for workshops.
Senator Dominguez?
Can you repeat the amount for the speakers and performances?
Yes, that is the amount that's written down on the paper. That is the 8,200.
Senator Vicente?
Okay, I'm so sorry. Please be patient with me. But I'm still kind of confused on the budget. So basically the food, the money allocated for the food decreased, but it increased in other places like for facilities and keynote performers.
Chair of Finance, right?
Yeah, so yeah, basically the previous request was just logistics and it was more like PPM and such and food, but then they went ahead and broke down the breakdown to move it into different departments where we do fund rather than just funding everything on the food primarily.
Yeah, and something I'll say, per the Code of Finance, it's clear that we can fund all of that related to facilities. So I think it's more so like the food that we're like, we don't know what to do there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just like, I was very confused because a lot of numbers were said. And before we do make any amendments or votes, I really wanted to know like exactly what it was going to. Thank you.
Okay, for sure. Then the only thing we're double checking is Chair of Finance Sare just brought up that per the code, we do not fund hospitality of the keynote performers, so we're just checking on that.
Yes, so just for clarification, the 400 that we give, that we allocate to them, they can utilize that money as they want to. So if they want to use that money for hospitality and just a bit of it to pay the speaker, they can do it. But just so you know, 400 is just the max we can give to speakers. And what they do with that money is up to them.
Okay, so seeing how that discussion is sort of calming down, let's just make sure that we are all in the same space and mindset and headset of how much we're going to be allocating, and then we'll go into your question. Is that okay? So once again, facilities would be 17,324, correct? Then we're giving away for conference merchandise 11,000.
Sorry, for the conference, it is 200. Conference merchandise, 200.
Then for food, 3,000. For keynote performers,
At the moment, 8,200 with the reduced amount proposed, that is 1,600.
So 1,600. Then workshops?
3,200.
My only comment over here is we could max it out a little bit more if we give for the Code of Finance says $150 per speaker. So if there's 18 workshops, that would bring it up to 2,700. And then we can give out $500 in workshop materials and supplies. So and that one is capped at 3, so 5,000 times 3, 1,500. So I'm bringing it up to 4,200. So we can max out more money there too. Senator Gavino.
Could you repeat the number for the workshop instructors? Because I believe it's instructors, not speakers, correct? Because that's a different thing.
Let me check the wording on the finance code. It's workshop, instructor, or artist.
And how much is that number?
150. And there's no math.
Times 18?
Yeah.
So $2,700.
Yes. Plus the 1,500 for workshop materials and supplies.
Plus the 1,600 for speakers.
You're right. Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Yeah. So I'm gonna once again go back to the VPN does not necessarily have to be followed specifically for this item. But I also want us to keep in mind, these are, yes, they are standard workshops. However, this is a conference of 700 people. The supplies you would need for a proper workshop to account for even a quarter of that is realistically much more than 150. I think if everyone here would be willing to consider a 175 or 200 per workshop, that would be a bit more realistic to the conditions of the conference.
Yes, so I think that's why I'm recommending to increase the $2,500 from workshops to 4,200. Senator, I'll go Senator Basile and then Senator Gavino.
I think it's very nice that you want to like kind of not have to follow VPN so much, but again, I will bring up the case from last semester. I really tried to increase that myself, and I was told we cannot do that because we have to follow the Code of Finance and we have to follow VPN. So, I understand the 150 thing, but our vice president has already made an increased amount there. And again, for the speakers, I think they need to be a separate breakdown because the max is 800 per Code of Finance. And because right now it's 1,600, it needs to be 800 as a separate entity because of VPN and Code of Finance.
As Senator Cabrera Figueroa said, this is not a VPN conversation, though. This isn't a student organization. This is a university organization. So we're looking at benefit, to the university, not to a student organization. It's the same reason that it's a ticketed conference. It's not open. It is technically open to the public, but it's not a open non-ticketed event. So I don't think really any VPN considerations have. There are recommendations and there are things that we should look at and we should be equitable about across, all of the things that we're funding, but they're not a strict set of rules like we came in thinking that they were. So.
Okay, so let me, Senator Dominguez.
So I just wanted some clarification. From what I understand, it is that like at most what we can allot per speaker is 400, and here in the breakdown it shows that there would be 2 speakers. So what I heard being suggested is what's it called? 1,600, but then shouldn't it be 800 because here it just says that there'd be 2 speakers, and then for the workshops they would just be instructors.
So something that I just wanted to give is the max amount of money that we can give for keynote and performers. That's just the way I would suggest, but we can also follow through with that. Senator Cabrera Figueroa, you had it, or Senator Gabino?
Sorry. Yeah, I just want to provide a little bit of clarity on that. So yes, in viewpoint neutrality process, it does specify it is 400 per key or per speaker, because it just specifies speaker in general, for a max of 4 speakers per academic year. However, for the category of viewpoint neutrality process, it also stipulates that this only applies to student organizations, that is RSOs or student clubs. As the Black House is neither of those, the VPN does not necessarily apply in this instance. So there is technically no defined limit. However, that is still a recommendation in place.
Thank you. Senator Arias Gomez?
Towards the end of this discussion, could we just get a finalized breakdown just to like, so that everyone knows what?
For sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let me give you all how it looks like right now. And then we can discuss whether or not we just want to cap the speakers at 800 or 1,600. So this is the current breakdown that I have. $17,324 for facilities, $200 for conference merchandise, $3,000 for food, $1,600 for keynote performers, $4,200 for workshops, going to a total to $26,324. Let me know if anyone needs more. Senator Gabino?
Could you restate the workshop total and the total number?
The workshop total would be 4,200 and the overall total 26,324. And then within the workshop, we would have like 2 different kind of like breakdowns. One for the workshop materials, which would be 1,500, and the workshop instructors or artists 2,700. So that's where the 4,200 are coming from. Okay. Does anyone need me to restate certain numbers? Senator Gabino?
Is there anyone that has major concerns with that or would vote against that, I guess would say? Because I'm going to make the amendment.
Senator Vicente?
I mean, again, just clarification before we do anything. For the code on finance, that's since it is taken as a recommendation, it is entirely up to like the Senate then on how to view these allocations. Okay, thank you.
Yes, so they provide a recommendation and we are the ones that either approve it or not. But of course we can make amendments to it. And I know we haven't made the amendment yet. So I want to make sure everyone's kind of on the same mindset. We're on the same like discussion points so that then we can bring it up to only one amendment instead of like making several amendments for that same motion. Senator Cabrera Figueroa?
Yeah, just an additional clarity too. For the Code of Finance also says that if it is something outside of the specified limits of the Code of Finance, it can be recommended by Finance Committee to Senate for approval regardless. So even if it does not fall under the Code on Finance, it can still come to us. And if everyone 2/3 deem it is valid and justifiable, it can pass even if it does not follow Code on Finance.
Okay, so do we still want to discuss on whether we're giving 1,600 or 800 for the speakers? Senator Basilio?
I remember hearing you can do 4 speakers total throughout the year, right? So if we wanted to, we could just give whatever that max is for speakers, if that helps. Because I know that they're getting less in areas like food because we just can't fund that the same way that we can fund facilities and other stuff.
Okay, perfect. So I sent the breakdown that I have right now in our Flare group chat. So in case that anyone wants to double check those numbers, please go ahead and do so. Once again, we're going to have two amendments. The first one with in regards to the BSU and the other one in regards to the breakdown. So is there any amendments to our original motion? Senator Gabino.
I move to amend the motion to remove the Black Student Union from the allocation.
Here, let me. Is that, yeah.
Never mind.
Okay. Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
I just want to make sure I'm pulling up the right one. Perfect. I move to amend line item A in unfinished business to read, or I apologize, to remove the Black Student Union from the motion itself.
Before we go into like further, point of clarification, Denise, could we just say to amend the motion to read as follows and then just do the whole motion without the BSU and then also just do the breakdown? Yeah, okay, so in one motion.
Perfect. I move to amend line item A to read as to allocate $26,324 from unassigned contingency to the CSUN Black House for the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference. Including 7,320, including 17,000 for facilities, 3,000 for food, 200 for conference merchandise, 1,600 for speakers, 2,700 for workshop instructors, and 1,500 for materials.
Do you want to follow through with your motion or do you want to?
I will make the motion just as follows or as read, and then I will provide a breakdown in a separate sentence to help clarify. I think that's where the bit of confusion is coming.
The other thing I was going to mention, so for facilities, 17,324 as we have it right now. And then you're adding $250 for materials. Oh, right. Okay, so I just have it in a different section. Okay, so Senator Basilio.
Just because I'm hearing a lot of confusion right now, can we take a recess for like 10 or 5 minutes? Because some of us are kind of confused right now.
Yes, let's do that. Let's take, can we come back at 10:20? Yes, okay. Senator Contreras?
Can I get permission to be recognized before the
Granted.
break?
Yes. So let's come back at 10:20 for sure. Let's take a break and we'll come back at 10:20. Thank you. All right, everyone, if we can go ahead and start heading to our seats to resume our meeting. Okay, thank you. Senator Basilio, could you please make a formal motion for the break?
I move to go into recess for 5 minutes
And you can say to come back at 10.
and to come back at 10:28.
Okay, so we don't need it. Thank you.
Oh.
No need. Okay. All right, is everyone ready? Is everyone back? Okay, thank you. So we're coming back to our meeting. We are discussing the approval of 48,177 from unassigned contingency to the Season Black House and the Black Student Union BSU for the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference. We're currently in discussion. Is there any other comment? Senator Gavino.
Yeah, I want to make the motion. I move to amend the motion to read as follows: to allocate $26,324 from unassigned contingency to the CSUN Black House for the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference, broken down into $17,324 to facilities, $3,000 for food, $1,600 for speakers, $1,500 for workshop materials, $2,700 for workshop instructors, and $200 for conference merchandise.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Cabrera Figueroa. Let's go into discussion to the amendment of our original motion. For everyone's information, both for passing this amendment and then passing our original motion, we need a 2/3 majority vote, which comes up to 13 senators voting in favor of that. Any comments? Senator Basilio.
On the conference merchandise, are we not allowed to give more at all? Because I mean, obviously, I don't know what kind of merchandise it is, but 200 sounds like a little low. Can we up that to like 400 or 500? Is there anything in our code of finance that says that we can't?
So no, to your answer question, no, there's nothing in the code of finance that says you can't do otherwise. Just for clarification, we are not, as we've been mentioning, we're not going basically based off VPN because this is not a student organization. So there's nothing we're going based off, just basically on your approval. So yes, just for clarification, we could up the price, but it would be up to you guys to decide in your discussion.
Okay. Would we want to up that amount? Senator Gabino?
Yeah, if there are no qualms with that, I would support upping that, yeah.
To how many?
We would have to vote on this amendment before we make another
Yes.
one, correct? So let's vote on this amendment,
Okay.
and then we'd increase it back in the original motion.
All right. So any other comments before we go into the voting of our amendment? Seeing none, we're voting to amend the original motion to now read as follows: to allocate $26,324 from unassigned contingency to the Season Black House for the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference, breakdown as follows: $17,324 for facilities, $200 for conference merchandise, $3,000 for food, $1,600 for keynote performers, $1,500 for workshop materials and supplies, $2,700 for workshops instructors. If you are in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Abstains? Motion fails. Let's go now into discussion again. The amendment fails. Senator Gavino?
Yeah, so we were voting, me personally was voting no on the amendment because we're gonna make another amendment to increase the conference merchandise. So, given that on the budget, the conference merchandise is totaling $18,908, I think $2,000 would be sufficient for conference merchandise from AS. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Senator Diaz-Gomez?
Just quick clarification, it's going from 200 to 2,000?
Senator Gavino?
Yeah, I move to amend the motion to read as follows: to allocate $28,324 from unassigned contingency to the CSUN Black House for the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference, including $17,324 for facilities, $3,000 for food, $1,600 for speakers, $1,500 for workshop materials, $2,700 for workshop instructors, and $2,000 for conference merchandise.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Cabrera Figueroa. Are there any other questions, comments over here? Senator Gavino.
So you mentioned 13 senators, but there are only 15 senators sitting right now. Is it 2/3 of the entire voting body or two? Right?
If I'm not mistaken, it's with the entire governing members.
It's not 2/3 of the quorum?
Denise, clarification, please. Denise?
So per the Code on Finance, it is 2/3 of the total voting membership.
Okay.
And the definition of the total voting membership is the total number of AS seats that are filled, the president and vice president seats.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so there. What should we do? Okay, so there are two ways to go. The total or the overall sum is incorrect. So we can either vote on the the amendment that we have to not pass it, so that we can make the actual sum, or we can vote on this and then make another amendment to the amendment.
Point of information.
Yes.
So one of the things you have to be mindful of is whenever you're making amendments to vote on, there should be a significant difference. You can't keep like making amendments and voting it down because it's not perfect. You can amend an original motion at least twice.
Okay.
So right now you have your original motion.
Yeah.
And then you have your amendment. So if there's something wrong with this amendment, you can still amend that and then you need to start voting. But you all need to be mindful of voting things down and then restating the same motion because it's not significantly different.
Okay, thank you. So then let's go into voting for the following. We are voting to amend line item A to now read to allocate $28,324 from unassigned contingency to the CSUN Black House for the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference, breakdown being $17,324 for facilities, $2,000 for conference merchandise, $3,000 for food, $1,600 for keynote performers, $1,500 for workshop materials and supplies, $2,700 for workshops and instructors. If you are in favor of this amendment, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? Thank you. The amendment passes. Is there any other discussion to our original amendment? To our motion? Senator Gavino?
So now that the amendment is passed and the total number is wrong, should we be amending to, okay, so I move to amend the motion to read as follows to allocate.
Point of order, could we just amend the motion to just change the number and not like half the whole, to read the whole thing again? Okay, yeah.
I move to amend the motion to reflect the total of $28,124 with the same breakdown.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Cabrera Figueroa. Any discussion on this? Once again, we're just updating the total amount. Okay, let's go into voting into the amendment to now read the original motion as a total of $28,124. If you're in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Abstains? Thank you. The amendment passes. Is there any other further discussion? Okay, so we're going back to the original approval of our motion. Once again, I'll restate this. Right now, the motion reads to allocate $28,124 from unassigned contingency to the Season Black House from the 2026 African Black Coalition Conference. Breakdown being $17,324 for facilities, $2,000 for conference merchandise, $3,000 for food, $1,600 for keynote and performers, $1,500 for workshop materials and supplies, $2,700 for workshop instructors. So if you are in favor of this motion, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. Our motion passes. Let's go now into new business. Is there a motion? Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
I move to allocate $13,500 from unassigned contingency to associated students for Matitude Tuesdays.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Contreras. Is there any discussion? Oh, yeah, Senator Cabrera.
Yeah, just to provide more context for other senators and anyone in the audience at the moment. So Matitude Tuesday, as we had a quick recap, when the breakdown was provided, it is for, I believe it was 1,000 shirts to be ordered of several sizes to be distributed to students, as well as some incentive rewards for those engaging with Matitude Tuesdays that will be distributed across several events. Just so that everyone's aware that this is where 13,500 is coming from, is from the cost of buying 1,000 shirts and then also buying, I believe it is a total of 300 or 400 different giveaway items. And that is what this lump sum comes from.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing and seeing none, let's go into voting. If you are in favor of allocating $13,500 from unassigned contingency to associated students for Matitude Tuesdays, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? And any abstain? Thank you. Motion passes. Is there any other motion on the floor? Senator Gavino.
To allocate $23,365 from unassigned contingency to Associated Students for AS Free Boot Camp 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Atias. Any discussion on this? All right, seeing no discussion, let's go into voting. If you are in favor of allocating $23,365 from unassigned contingency to Associated Students for AS Reboot Camp 2026, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Any abstains? Thank you. Motion passes. Are there any other motions on the floor? Senator Gavino.
I move to amend a previously adopted motion by replacing the line item breakdown for the CSUN American Marketing Association allocation with the following amounts, which total $2,970. Guest speaker panel, $1,150. Workshop events, $400. Marketing mashup, $670. Marketing week, $400. Digital marketing, $100. Tabling supplies, $100. Bookstore incentive, $150.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Quiroga. Any discussion in, so we're now going into discussion. I wanted to once again clarify that for this motion, we do need a 2/3 majority vote once again. Chair Ture, if you could just please remind all of the senators that it's the same total, but just a different breakdown, please.
Yeah, so the total is the same as you guys had approved previously. However, the breakdown was incorrect. I inputted some wrong numbers and added $400 for physical marketing previously. However, the finance committee did decide to remove that, considering that all of their events that they requested, they also requested funds for physical marketing for all those events. So because of VPN, there are limitations to how much we can allocate for physical marketing supplies. So that's why we decided to just go ahead and remove physical marketing as a whole, and then just go ahead and divide it into every event that they're having. So they have still funding to make flyers for their events. And then we also subtracted $70 from marketing week, which is mentioned now it's 400, but previously it was 470. We eliminated 70 because of VPN as well. They requested more for printing fees, but like I said, there's only a limitation to how much we can allocate them, so we subtracted 70 and only gave them, I believe it was 250 instead of so sorry. Yeah, so we subtracted 70 and we only got 400.
Okay, thank you. So clarification, this is a 2/3 majority vote of those voting members present. So, okay, any other discussion points, questions, comments? Senator Basilio?
Do you know how many guest speakers they're having?
Yeah, so that's something else that I should have clarified. All the guest speakers they're having are volunteers. They're just asking funding for the rental rooms, auditorium and visual equipment, and guest speaker parking, which is something separately, as well as lighting. So all the materials they're requesting, the 100, 150 for guest speaker panels is just to host the event, but not to fund the guest speakers other than their parking.
Okay, any other question, comments? Seeing none, let's go into voting. If you are in favor to amend a previously adopted motion by replacing the line item breakdown for the CSUN American Marketing Association allocation with the following amounts, which total $2,970. Breakdown being guest speaker panel for 1,150, workshop events for $100, marketing mashup $670, marketing week for $100, digital marketing $100, tabling supplies $100, and bookstore incentive $150. Once again, if you're in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed? And anyone abstain? Thank you. The motion passes. Let's now go into information items, going first with our graduate senator report. Senator Mane, he is not present right now, but you can see his report in attachment 6. Let's go now into our engineering computer science report. Senator Dominguez.
Hello, everyone. So for my report, I'll start off with my Senate event. Right now, from the last time, basically, I was originally going to hold a town hall for this semester, but then my college had hosted one like around the same time. So I then decided to pivot, and I now will be having a event for finals week called like AS Final Freebies, where I will just be giving refreshments and snacks to students so that to like like re-energize them and refresh them while they're going like from final to final. And then moving on to my personal project, I basically am currently like still not working on the original one I was working on, which is like history of AES as a whole. Right now, I'm focused on working on a separate one, which would basically be recording oral histories of past like AES administrations and then like having them available for anyone to see on a website. I had a meeting with Kevin and Daniel about how I could like feasibly do this. And so it was a very productive meeting and it was great. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dominguez. Let's now go into our lower division report by Senator Garcia.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone was having a very great morning. Sorry. So for my report, I wanted to discuss about my Senate event that I'm going to do with my co-senator. It will be this Thursday, December 11th, from 11 to 3 in the Thousand Oaks room. I'm really excited to also display my personal project as I will be raffling out 10 tap vouchers in a raffle that were donated to me by a Metro representative, which I'm really proud of. And yeah, thank you. Hope you guys have a great finals week.
Thank you, Senator Garcia. Let's now go into our arts, media, and communication report by Senator Gabino.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for everyone who helped out on the AI survey this semester. Pretty successful. It's going to close today, so we'll see that report coming in the first Senate meeting of the spring semester. I met with my deans a couple times since I last reported. I attended a college town hall event called Donuts with the Deans, where I met with different clubs from the AMC College that were looking to secure funding for events and conferences, was able to point them to AS and point them to STAR funding, which was great. With my deans, we discuss, the AI survey at length and efforts to provide opportunities to students of different majors and clubs to connect both professionally through different institutes we have, like the Entertainment Industry Institute, and in more casual settings like mixers, like that town hall that I mentioned. With the AI task force, we discussed plans for an AI Day symposium and student workshops in the spring semester. And then I also met with the University Corporation, where we improved a 5-year contract with Fullwood Higher Education to continue to operate our bookstore. And I had my Senate event on November 17th. So thank you to everyone who came to that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gabino. Now let's go into our External Affairs Committee end of the semester report.
Yes. Vice President, how would you like me to go about this?
So I would say we do have the reports already available to us. So let's not go into such specifics, but rather which were some of your highlights during the semester.
Yeah, for sure. Some of my highlights throughout the semester, definitely our committee members who worked diligently. I wrote that they had a lot of abstract requests. External affairs usually gets a lot of abstract requests of like, this is a problem, solve it, you know. And so I think we did a good job of kind of wrapping our heads around those problems and getting on the way to solving them if they weren't solved already. Um, like I wrote here, you know, large or multi-step requests, some of them only remain partially resolved, but the work was made and recommendations were submitted to continue the work next semester, which is great. Um, and then, yeah, some highlights. Obviously the AI survey was successful. That was our first referral. Community relationships, Chair Rosales, the chair of legislative affairs, was able to connect, you know, with the Northridge East Neighborhood Council on that. We revisited a couple of our resolutions from last year and this year and worked on a lot of those action items, which I'm pleased to say are either being followed up with or are in the process of being followed up with. And then we have built, well, the Attorney General built a survey for academic advising practices, which will be going out next semester, which is great. And we got started on some of the religious accommodation issues around campus, as well as letters in support of HSI grants that have been stripped away. But yeah, if you have any questions on the report, it's all there. Just let me know, send me an email, and I could for sure give you more information on any of those. But yeah, shout out to the committee, shout out to the vice chair, shout out to our advisor, Tim. He did a lot of work for us and was a great perspective. Yeah, it was a pleasure being the chair of the External Affairs Committee again, and see you all next semester.
Thank you, and shout out to our External Affairs Committee. Okay, let's now go into our Internal Affairs Committee end of the semester report.
Hello, everyone. So we had 8 referrals in our committee. I think everyone worked really hard on their assignments. Our big one was the standardized follow through, which was again looking at resolutions passed from last semester or last year. There was some blocks, obviously, because not everything is going to be perfect, but I think that we can re-refer this and just keep working on it because that's the point of that referral. Another big highlight was the senator stipends and then the big spreadsheet that's I hyperlinked it. So if you click on it, you should be able to see it. It's on there. I also said we'd update it accordingly because there was just some things we could not put in there considering the time constraints and also lack of responses from other campuses, which is no one's fault. It just happened. You saw some motions out of committee. There's going to be more in our special agenda. But overall, I think everyone did a good job, and I'm really proud of everyone, especially our vice chair. She had no idea how that minutes was working. You know, this was her first time, and she did very well, I think. There was always good energy in our committee. It was honestly a little slow at first because everyone was nervous, but they're not nervous anymore. They tell you how it is now. So again, very proud. And those were 2 of the big highlights.
Thank you. And yes, shout out to our Internal Affairs Committee this semester. Let's go now into our University Affairs Committee end of the semester report.
Hey everyone, so big shout out to the University Affairs Committee this semester. I would just like to thank not only the senators in the committee, but the ex officio members. Some of the highlights for sure were, for instance, when we were investigating the parking indicators. I really appreciated how everyone in the committee attended this one meeting with the parking director, ex officio member Boberg. You know, I really appreciate you for being there. Vice Chair Quiroga, you know, your minutes were always submitted on time. Thank you so much. And I'm very proud of Senator Ramirez for, you know, going out on her own, being independent, coming back to the committee with information every meeting. And Senator Arias Gomez for always having like the most creative ideas for all of our referrals. So big shout out to you guys. We do have a lot of unresolved referrals just because I felt like this semester just like went by in the blink of an eye. So we will return in the spring and hopefully do better work. Some other referral, what I really liked about being in the committee though is it kind of felt like investigative journalism, kind of like reaching out to the other auxiliaries and getting information from them. So I just really liked all the collaboration that happened within the committee, all the energy within the committee. And big shout out to my advisor, Calvin Yoon. I see you. So yeah, you guys made the experience really special, and yeah, it's been an honor to be your chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, shout out to our University Affairs Committee for the fall semester. Let's go now into our discussion items, going first with the feedback for provost and faculty resolution. To provide a little bit of context, this was presented in the last Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Senator Vicente?
Okay. Like Senator Basilio said, I am a STEM major, so I did see a lot of professors struggle with everything that was mentioned in this provost. Oh, not in the provost, in the what would you call it? Provost resolution. And so especially I think Vice President Alvaro, like Dr. Graff was like really big in the chemistry department, and I feel like she sorry, she battled or she didn't battle, but like she experienced most of these difficulties. So I do very much see everything mentioned like play out.
Yes, I also want to second that, especially when it came to the chemistry supplemental instruction classes that we were basically notified just by the end of last semester. And that was a lot of students who lost their jobs, a lot of students who now struggle to get sort of that paycheck. And then also a lot of students who now are struggling to pass those Chem 100 classes for sure. Any other comments? Senator Dominguez?
I just wanted to say that after having some discussions last week with some other like some of my peers, I heard that because of like the funding related cuts that were made like by the provost, that's why that there were less like LRC workshops this semester than previously, which is something that I did notice. I didn't realize that like what's it called, like the funding for like the LRC and like the students that are hired comes from like the provost and like that like area of administration. But I just think that it's unfortunate that like these cuts were made and that it had those effects. When the provost came to talk to us about cuts that they were making in the budget to be able to like handle the deficit, I had asked if there were any student programs that like or like that would be affected by this, and like she didn't let us know that they like, for example, that these were one of the things that were being affected. But it's clear that it's very important to students, and I see that in the LRC they're still making strides to be able to help students as much as they can. And so I'm just really proud of like the LRC for stepping up.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, we will relay all of these comments to President Sarabia for her to also relay. Senator Basilio?
Yes, sorry. Also, the last thing on the equality and equity, where the confusion comes in, I think again, they brought up very good points that we need to be very careful of who we're choosing to be in these administrative roles, because if they're not as equally committed to CSUN's like mission to be equitable, then that is going to be felt. That's going to trickle for sure. And it's going to be felt by students. Again, I saw a lot of it in the EPC meetings, and I hope that this does not become a repetitive thing with other positions in CSUN.
Of course. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Senator Dominguez?
I just wanted to add on very quickly. I'm the student representative for the Academic Technology Committee, and then within that committee, last week, we were talking about this resolution, and then it was mentioned that the provost during their like time in that role had increased like research funding in certain areas, but after seeing the resolution here and like reading that she had dismantled the large grant program, it's very clear that from a student perspective, it's a much more complex situation involving faculty. But yeah, I just wanted to make that note.
All right, thank you. Let's go. Senator Kachidia, do you have a comment?
Oh, no, I just.
Okay, okay, thank you. Let's go now into, we'll skip over legislative, oh, sorry, any other comments then? Okay, let's skip over, okay, so we'll finish this discussion item. Once again, we'll relay all of these comments afterwards. Let's go into legislative referrals. Let's skip over legislative referrals and let's go into announcement. Any announcements from the board? Senator Cabrera Figueroa?
Cool. Yeah. So this is actually also regarding Senator Garcia's personal project for the Metro U passes. So I don't know why it's echoing. It does not like me.
You should hold it close to your mouth.
Does this? Okay. Cool. So I thank you to Daniel and Jade and to everyone in the marketing department because they have finally been able to complete a flyer for the Metro survey. It was very last minute, but they're able to cram it through. So I will finally actually be emailing you a flyer for the Metro CSUN survey. And thank you all for your attention.
Thank you. Any other announcements? All right, let's go into our final roll call. Attorney General, please.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Abrams. Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Atias.
Here.
Senator Basilio.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Here.
Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator Dominguez.
Here.
Senator Garcia.
Here.
Senator Gavino.
Here.
Senator Kodka. Senator Mane. Senator Quiroga.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umano.
Here.
Senator Vicente.
Here.
Thank you. I adjourn this meeting at 11:01 a.m. And now let's go into our special meeting agenda. So I call our special meeting agenda to order at 11:01 a.m. Let's go into roll call by our Attorney General.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Abrams. Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Atias.
Here.
Senator Basilio.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Here.
Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator Dominguez.
Here.
Senator Garcia.
Here.
Senator Gavino.
Here.
Senator Kachidia.
Here.
Senator Kodka.
Here.
Senator Mane. Senator Quiroga.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umano.
Here.
Senator Vicente.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. We'll go now into the approval of the agenda for this special meeting on December 8, 2025. Is there a motion? Senator Arias Gomez.
I move to approve of the agenda for December 8th, 2025.
All right, thank you. Is there a second? Senator Dominguez? Any discussion on the approval of the agenda? All right, seeing none, let's go into voting. If you're in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. We'll skip over a special presentation and we'll go into open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associated Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes. Is there anyone here for open forum? All right, seeing none. Let's go into, we'll skip over reports and we'll go into new business. Is there a motion? Senator Umana.
I move to approve the AS credit card review and approval policy, parentheses, executive director transactions, parentheses.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Kunanen. Is there any discussion on this matter? Senator Basilio.
Just to be clear, based on my understanding of the whole policy, it's our Vice President of Student Affairs that checks off and our AS President. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
I just want to make sure I'm looking at the wrong section. For policy statement, line item 6 on compliance and consequences, I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding. Are these consequences in succession after repeated attempts repeated offenses, or are they at the discretion of a body to determine what that consequence is? And then also, what would that body be if so?
From my understanding on this is that, for instance, Dr. Watkins would be the one who would deem that and would take the necessary actions. However, I can double check that with Denise or John. Can I yield the floor to John?
John is checking on that information right now, so we will get it to you.
Thank you. In the meantime, is there any other question or comments? Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Yes, for the line directly above it, line 5, it mentions prohibited purchases, gift cards unless pre-approved under gift policies, alcohol unless explicitly authorized for donors / official functions. For those 2 examples, will they be, or I apologize, is there any paperwork that must be submitted and completed for those? Are those just the generic forms that we're using?
So we do have clarification on your previous question. The executive director reports to the AS president, the vice president for student affairs, and ultimately the board. So those would be the entities that would make those decisions.
Okay, and then the other question was whether for gift cards or alcohol, is if there is any extra paperwork that needs to be filled out for that.
If it is something that is included as part of hospitality, then it would be part of our hospitality form, justification form.
Right. Okay. Senator Dominguez.
I just wanted to quickly ask for roles and responsibilities for the Board of Trustees. I'm imagining that's us, and but so then there it says that okay, never mind.
Yeah, so I think for Board of Trustees, this is referring to the Chancellor's office. Right, yeah. Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, let's take this into vote. If you are in favor of approving the AS credit card review and approval policy for executive director transactions, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll go into the External Affairs motion out of committee to approve the recommendation on 2025-26 13, revisiting SB 2024-25-4, call to action in support of undocumented students, and Senate Bill 2025-26 1, condemning anti-HSI practices from the Department of Education. We do not need a motion. We're currently in discussion. Senator Gavino.
Yeah, so the committee did good work on this. I hope you got a chance to read the recommendation. It basically states the work that was done, the responses that were received, and then essentially in our discussion of the referral came the idea of at least like pursuing other forms of follow-up and reaching out to these communities. And so I've essentially in the recommendation recommended that it be resubmitted as 3 separate referrals next semester, both to kind of spread the workload across different committees that it may pertain to, and also to just pertain with other efforts that are going to be executed by different senators next semester. But let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any other contributions to our discussion? All right, seeing none. If you are in favor of approving the recommendation, please raise your hand. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And congratulations to External Affairs. All right, we have another motion out of committee from External Affairs to approve the recommendation on 2025-26-25 letters in support of HSI grants. Once again, no motion needed. We are currently in discussion. Any contributions? Senator Gavino?
Yeah, so this was a referral, a pretty good referral that was brought upon by Senator Garcia. And she can speak more to it, but she'll be writing a letter, much like the letter that was written by the UC Student Association about Senate Bill 98. It will be written about HSI grant funding and the restriction of such and how it harms our student communities. And I've just essentially listed out some of the stakeholders that it should be sent to, who should be spoken to about it, and that it should be an open letter to be signed by anyone who's interested. So looking forward to see how that comes out.
Thank you, Senator Gavino. Any other contribution to our discussion? All right. Seeing none, let's vote on the approval of the recommendation. If you're in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll now go into entering the committee of the whole. Is there a motion to enter the committee of the whole? Senator Basilio.
I move to enter committee of the whole.
Is there a second? Senator Umana, is there any discussion on entering the committee of the whole? Seeing none, let's go into voting. If you're in favor of entering the committee of the whole, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so is there a motion on the floor? Senator Umana?
I move to approve Senate Bill 2024-25-006, call to uplift cultural houses and resource centers as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Dominguez. Let's go into discussion. Senator Basilio.
Okay, I'm not sure if all of you recall, but again, or no, probably not. But in internal affairs, this was one of the big resolutions we worked on to follow through with, and we ran into some issues regarding specificities on what associated students wanted, especially like our past president, what she meant by a couple of the things that she wrote in the resolution. So first, we wanted to clarify that the funding we allocated was only for the cultural houses already in existence. And Dr. Freddie Sanchez, who's working on new identity-based resource centers, kind of differentiates the two in the way it's written or amended in whereas number 4. We strike through whereas 5 because it kind of just says the same thing. And then in resolved 7 is where we again specified the cultural houses listed, which would be the only ones receiving the budget allocations. And we also added that our chair of finance and our chair of DEI would ensure the funds are allocated. However, I do recommend that we add our AS controller there to kind of supervise both chairs.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Senator Cabrera Figueroa?
Yes. Yeah, so a lot on the same note. For the resolved, I do think including the controller would be an amazing idea for everyone here. Am I able to make an amendment at this moment? Okay, perfect. I move to amend the resolved 7 amended portion to read and the chair of finance in collaboration with the chair of diversity, equity, inclusion shall ensure the funds are allocated under the overview of the AS controller.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Basilio. Is there any discussion on the proposed amendment? All right, seeing none. If you're in favor of amending the resolution, please raise your hand. Thank you. The amendment passes unanimously. We're back in approving the resolution as amended. Is there any other contributions? All right, seeing none, let's vote into the approval of Senate Bill 2024-25-6, called to uplift cultural houses and resource centers as amended. If you are in favor, please raise your hand. Perfect. Motion passes unanimously. Is there any other motion within Committee of the Whole? Senator Basilio.
I move to approve the Vice President's Code as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Arias Gomez. Let's go into discussion. Senator Basilio.
So a lot of the things I'm going to say kind of overlap with our new President's Code, just because they were both worked on at the same time. So a lot of the changes are stuff that was recommended when I talked to our executive director before she went on her conference. So something we added was removal of the president and the vice president procedures, not just, yeah, anyway, that's in there. There was also a couple things that changed to reflect how they're actually done. So one big thing was how our Senate reports are shared. Last semester, they were supposed to be added to the vice president's report, kind of the same way our chief of staff reports every other cabinet member's report. But we decided it's better we just attach them as information items. And I think that that's probably a lot better for everybody because we can add our own thoughts and our own updates to our own reports. And then it kind of says what those reports look like. We reflected a lot of the Council of Chairs' new procedures onto our Vice President's Code. And then we also added that new referral in that our VP sent to internal, which was the meetings with the Vice President of Student Affairs, the president, the university president, and the DPS director of DEI. And then also the check-ins with the executive director done by the vice president, usually alone and not with the AS president. And the last thing we added that I thought was important was that the vice president is recommended to oversee cabinet members alongside the president. So we're not forcing any VP to do that. That is just a recommendation that's also reflected in the new president's code.
Senator Basilio, did you see the amendment that I did for, it should be after oversee the Senate about the interviews?
Yes, wait.
My main reason of making such amendment would be because I am not required to be in those Senate interviews. So I am recommending to only include a statement where the vice president ensures that there is a Senate representative within those interviews, but the vice president themselves are not required to be in there.
I think I know what you're talking about. I don't see it right. Wait, never mind. I see it. Yes, I also agree with that amendment.
Okay. Could you make that amendment, please?
Wait, did you send that to me?
It's on the drive file. Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Just for clarification, Vice President, would you be able to restate the recommendation that you have?
Yes, so it's I basically went on to the chair of outreach and recruitment code on what the applications or like the committee for interview looks like. And it doesn't include me in any of those things, but it includes a Senate representative. So the only thing we're doing is right now it reads that I need to be considered into these interviews, but that's not true to what like the code of outreach and recruitment looks like right now. So the vice president will only have to make sure that a senator is present during the interviews rather than the vice president being present in the interviews. Senator Abrams? Granted. Senator Basilio?
I found the amendment. So instead of what it reads now as the vice president shall be an active member of the interview process for vacant Senate seats in order to provide a recommendation to the Senate as per the chair of outreach and recruitment code. It will now read the vice president shall ensure that throughout the interview process for vacant Senate seats, the chair of outreach and recruitment considers the appropriate Senate representatives' feedback as per the chair of outreach and recruitment code.
Could you make the formal motion, please?
Yes. I move to amend and strike through the third lines. I move to strike through the third line, 31A in the Senate section to read instead, the vice president shall ensure that throughout the interview process for vacant Senate seats, the chair of outreach and recruitment considers the appropriate Senate representative's feedback as per the chair of outreach and recruitment code.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Umana. Any discussion on the proposed amendment? Seeing none, let's vote into it. If you're in favor of amending the vice president's code, please raise your hand. All right, the amendment passes unanimously. Let's go back into the approval of the vice president's code as amended. Any other contributions? Seeing none, let's take this into a vote. If you are in favor of approving the vice president's code as amended, please raise your hand. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Are there any motions in committee of the whole? Senator Basilio?
I move to approve the president's code.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Arias Gomez. Any contributions over here? Senator Basilio?
Sorry. Okay, again, this is a new code. We've never had a president's code before. And what we do have in our constitution will change. Like I said, I had a meeting with our executive director outlining new procedures that will be present in the new constitution per our audit. The big thing is the president's code will have the mission statement just because they are the chief one that's following that mission statement. Again, removal procedures are there. They are also recommended to jointly oversee Senate with the vice president, as I was stated in the vice president. It's just flipped because it has to be. And everything else that was there, it's kind of a small code for now because this is really just what our president gave Vice Chair Vicente because she did most of the groundwork for it. And one other thing is that it says that it's not a complete list of presidential duties, but it's just a general overview to again emphasize that we can't list every single thing a president does because goals change throughout administrations, but the general responsibilities that they have are the same. There's also something that needs to be removed, but I'm sure someone else will say that instead of me.
Thank you, Senator Romana.
I just want to say, Senator Basilio, good job on the code. I think it looks good. Something that I would like to see added to the president's code is maybe like a minimum GPA requirement, just because I feel like it would only be fair if both the president and vice president are in good academic standing, and if that's something that's could possibly be added.
Senator Basilio.
Yes, I see your point. I think in every other code, and I believe also our Senate standing rules, it is listed that we have to be in good academic standing. So maybe just not writing the specific GPA because I don't think it's written in our Senate standing rules either. But I see what you mean to also write that in for our VP and president. That could also be useful.
Yes, I'll yield the floor to Denise.
So the specific GPA requirement as well as the course requirements are listed in our bylaws. So that would be the place where we would refer. There could be an additional line added to this code to reference or to refer the person to the bylaws.
Thank you. Senator Gabino.
Yeah, I move to amend the president's code to strike through vice under purpose and also to strike through you are missing some rights from the chair that are mentioned in the standing rules, such as when they vote under Senate under duties.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Basilio. Any discussion on this, Senator Gabino?
Yeah, so I believe this is the amendment that Senator Basilio was looking for, and it also removes the purpose stated duties and responsibilities of the vice president. That's incorrect. So just taking that out.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on this amendment? Senator Basilio? No, okay. All right, let's take this into a vote. If you are in favor of approving the proposed amendment by Senator Gavina, please raise your hand. Okay, the amendment passes unanimously. We'll go back into the president's code. Any other feedback? Yes, Senator Basilio.
Okay, so I'll work more to see where the bylaws, like what the section and articles are, because this is pretty much going to be here as we do an annual review of all cabinet codes. That will also include our president and our vice president. So next semester is when internal can add those in, just because I don't want to like misstate anything now. And I'd rather all of the codes have the exact same wording. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
For sure. And all of these practices are like things that presidents are obviously already doing. So I think it's more so like for the future generations of presidents to have a basic guideline. So for sure, we can see how it's being implemented next semester and of course, bring it to Senate back by the end of spring semester so that we can review, see what was sufficient, what was not, and we can make those proper amendments. Any other contributions, Senator Vicente?
Like Alvaro just stated, next semester we are, wanting it implemented and you, I think most centers would have to, or not would have to. I'm sorry. My brain is kind of foggy, but maybe would like to add more amendments to this code or change other things. But just to keep in mind, I do believe that it is important to provide some leeway on these codes just because we are, at the end of the day, student leaders, student coming first. So as you know, I think the code is amazing as also Eddie said. So I really would like to give a shout out to Kim for working on this. And yeah.
Thank you. All right, seeing nothing else for our discussion, let's go into voting. If you're in favor of approving the President's Code, please raise your hand. Thank you. The President Code has been approved unanimously. Let's now go into exiting the Committee of the Whole. Is there a motion? Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
To exit Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Quiroga. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote into entering the Committee of the Whole. If you're in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. We've exited Committee of the Whole. We are now going to vote to approve the recommendations of the Committee of the Whole. Any discussion over here? Seeing none, let's vote to approve the recommendations of the Committee of the Whole. If you are in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. We have approved the recommendations of the Committee of the Whole unanimously. We'll now go into a University Affairs motion out of committee to approve the recommendation on the 2025-26-9 subsidizing student club custodial fees. We are currently in discussion. Is there any contribution, Senator Umana?
Okay, so for some context, this is a referral that my committee has been working on, submitted by Senator Gavino. So the request says to allocate money in the budget to fully subsidize custodial fees that registered student organizations must pay when reserving a university classroom for meetings with more than 100 estimated people. So just to kind of make that simpler for you guys, whenever a RSO meets here on campus, reserves a space, and over 100 people meet, they do have to pay a custodial fee afterwards, which is, it includes, but it's not limited to restroom cleanup, trash pickup, furniture cleanup, things like that. So you guys are voting not on this, but on the recommendation for me to work alongside with Denise and Assistant Chair of Finance Gali, just to see if we can move money from unassigned contingency and create some sort of fund to help students pay for these custodial fees. So if you guys have any questions, please see me or anyone in the University Affairs Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other contribution to our discussion? All right, seeing none. If you are in favor of approving the recommendation on 2025-26-9 subsidizing student club custodial fees, please raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed? And any abstains? Thank you. Motion passes. We'll now go into, congratulations to the University Affairs Committee. Let's now go into our final roll call with our Attorney General.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Abrams. Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Atias.
Here.
Senator Basilio.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Here.
Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator Dominguez.
Here.
Senator Garcia.
Here.
Senator Gavino.
Here.
Senator Kachidia.
Here.
Senator Kodka.
Here.
Senator Mane. Senator Quiroga.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umana.
Here.
Senator Vicente.
Thank you.
Hey, girl.
Oh.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I adjourn our meeting at 11:32 a.m. Thanks to everyone and have a great winter break.